What's really, really good, my people? This your boy Smallito Way, coming at you with another video. Hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe button. Show some love, man. Anyway, let's get into this, man. Today, just want to talk about, listen, I'm not no young boy. I'm not no, not in my 20s and nothing like that. I'm old enough to remember the 90s and all this shit. And I just want to say that, for the most part, man, all these dudes out here talking about, oh, shit is way worse now than it was then and all this other shit, and these boys ain't got no fucking sense and all this other shit, talking shit about these young boys, man. Yo, look up the murder rate. Not even the murder rate. Look up how many people were murdered in 1993. You want to guess? 1,900, over 1,900 people were murdered in New York City in 1993. Now, how many people were murdered in 2020? Want to guess? 447 people, which is not nothing to sneeze at neither. It's still 447 more than I would like to see. Be that as it may. Do you see the difference? All these people that talk about these young boys and all this gang shit and everything, now I agree, shit has gotten out of control to a certain extent, but let's not sit here and act like anybody that's old enough to remember the 90s clearly understands how fucking crazy it was in New York City. How scary it was in New York City in certain neighborhoods. Like, taking the train in New York back in those days, crazy. Taking the bus, walking the streets, going to anywhere that you anywhere out of bounds, you could get killed. It was ugly back then. And yeah, it's ugly now. It is. But for all these older dudes that I see on here talking about, this shit is all fucked up out here now, and this, that, comparing this to back in the day, bro, these boys ain't even on that, like, they on crazy, they doing, but let's not act like no little kids got shot back in the day from a stray bullet from who's shooting at each other. Let's not act like people weren't doing ignorant shit back in the 90s. Everybody want to glorify it like it was such a better time. It was fucked up back then. People getting cut for wearing certain colors. People getting, harassed and ran down on. And people getting shot left and right. People getting stabbed left and right. Shit was ugly. Tell it for what it is. Tell it for what it is, man. Let's not try to paint this picture like these young boys are the start of these, that like they the ones that got it. No. This shit been fucked up. I'm speaking for New York City because I'm from New York City. Now, I'm sure that if you ask anybody from Chicago, you ask anybody from LA, you ask people from Miami, you ask people from Atlanta, etc., 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 they'll tell you the same shit. Shit was way worse. People were wilding back then. Like, really sit back and think about how many people, over 1,900, I think the article I read said it was 1,960 people. Do you understand that that's damn near 6 people a day were getting killed in New York City? 6 people as opposed to 447, which still is a lot because that means that more than one person every day is getting killed last year, which is, like I said, that's a lot. No matter how you look at it, it's a lot. But to sit here and have these dudes sit here and be like, oh, yeah, it was these kids right here nowadays, it was never like this. I never seen nothing like this. But I have. Shit been crazy, like, it was way worse back then. And let's not forget about 1993. What about 2000, 2001, 2002, etc., etc., etc.? Shit was lit, man. Shit was lit, man. This ain't like, stop throwing shade at these young boys acting like they out of bounds or they doing something that ain't been done before. Of course, the times are different, so they now, what makes it worse is you can actually see it in real time because these boys are putting it on TV. They making movies. They got their phones out. When they assaulting somebody, they robbing somebody, they cutting somebody got their phone out and they broadcasting it. They don't give a fuck. Back in the day, you had to hear about it or read about it in the paper. That was it. And you had to visualize it through your mind. Now you can actually see it in real time. That's the only difference. But these boys ain't no worse than we was. These boys ain't no worse than all the old timers was coming up in the 80s and the 90s. They was laying shit. It was people getting killed left and right. If I'm lying, then just look up the statistics. 447 in 1993, they would have laughed at that. They would have laughed at that. But that's what it was. That's what it is now. And what it was back then was, you want to talk about demon time, you talk about 6 people. That's some shit that you hear in Mexico on some cartel shit. And that was happening for a whole stretch of years. That was just 1993. You look up 1992, it's around the same numbers. Like, it was a while where New York City was really, really murder capital. They was not playing. And like I said, there's always been other cities, New Orleans, Detroit, you know what I mean, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, America, all these places been turned to. So why don't you, stop bragging on these young boys like they demons and they started all this shit, man. Nah. We taught them this shit. They just taking it to where they just doing it their way. We need to stop that shit, man. I can't stand, like, I'm not no young boy, but I'm not going to diss on these little, these young boys. I wish they would wake up. I wish they would do shit differently. I wish they would, learn from the mistakes that the older has made. But, hey, everybody got to learn differently. Some people got to bump their head. Some people got to go and sit down for 15, 20 years to get it right. It's a shame. But it is what it is, man. Let's stop pointing the finger. Stop pointing some thumbs, because we the ones that taught them this. All the dudes that they came up seeing and all that and idolizing, that didn't tell them, yo, that shit is whack. You don't want to be me. Yo, this shit is whack. You don't want to do this. That didn't chase, when I was coming up, I couldn't cut school on my block. Niggas would tell me to go to school. Niggas would make me go to school. Now that ain't happening. They misleading the youth. For real. That's what the problem is. But don't look at these young boys like they started something, or they the ones that's a problem and all this shit, man. Yeah, they doing it, they on a different type of time now. It's a different era. But let's not act like this is something new. This shit been going on. Kids been getting shot. Every innocent bystander's been walking to the store and getting shot. Been getting robbed. All that. It was way worse back then. Way worse. Anyway, man, that's my little rant. Much love to everybody, man. Follow on Young OG 3000. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that share button. My people be good, man. I'll see y'all in a minute.